My phone's not charging properly, so I'll try and make this short. I wanted to say, right, the most atrocious thing that I've found in my life is that the government work against the religion and the religion work against the government, or so it seems, right? So when I was brought up as a Jehovah's Witness, I was told that we don't have to tell police the truth because they're not worthy of knowing the truth, right? And they use the explanation of when they come and try and steal our Bibles and we don't tell them where our Bibles are, things like that, right? When I was 4 or 5 years old, I was told to kick churches, right? So when we were out in the preaching work, that was my favourite part, is kicking the wall of the church, right? And saying it's bad, they're going to be burned. And you know, when you're a kid, you don't think. And then when I was just thinking about when my mum kept going on about, when I was living as a Jehovah's Witness, how these injections that everyone is getting, you know, in schools and stuff are dangerous and they're deadly and they kill children. And she was like practically campaigning about it, right? And I remember my stepdad campaigning about acid rain, kept saying there's all this acid rain and it's killing us, and I don't know, right? So, and then they would say the government is evil. Then they said the United Nations is evil there because they're trying to replace Jesus. Then they said the governments are only in place to keep order, but we're above the governments and we don't listen to them because God speaks to the governing body, the 12 Jehovah's Witnesses, and they tell us right from heaven what's to be done. So how if you're a child? And then when I was a Jehovah's Witness, they said she's depressed but she can get therapy, but only if she doesn't talk about Jehovah's Witnesses. So I had to only talk about my mum because she was the main thing in my life. So, but then the therapy said you have to get out the Jehovah's Witnesses. And when I made an attempt to get out the Jehovah's Witnesses, then all the persecution came and they took my children because they could see that I was questioning things like, why don't we feed the poor? Why can't we give people on the street £1? Why are we not campaigning because African children are starving? And they would say, that's not our business. We are here to preach and that's it. So what I'm saying is, when you're a child, if you're told you're black, you're black. If you're told you're white, you're white. If you're told until someone else tells you. And if you're kept confined to the Jehovah's Witness meetings, it's deep, deep indoctrination, and you can't think outside that box because that's your safety box. So when anyone questioned me, you know, they're going to cut me. When anyone questioned me, I was just upset and confused. So what I'm saying is, when you're giving these children in this world, do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that, Jehovah's Witnesses said all other religion except them is called Babylon the Great and they're all going to be burned with fire. So, and then I was told every person who wasn't a Jehovah's Witness was evil. And unless they come to the meetings and get baptised, they're still evil. So you're taught to hate the public. Now how can you in one breath, you know, that's why when they were trying to jag my daughter, I was saying, let me just do a bit of research and find out what it is you're actually jagging her with. And that's when they said, right, we're taking her off you, obviously, because you're not doing what you're told. So it's like you cannot win. So then, therefore, your government is expecting you, do you know what I'm saying? It's just an evil game. And then I learned that it was actually the government and the Jehovah's Witnesses and the church are all big friends. The United Nations, the government and the religions are all one big friend. And this is just to knock you off, to terrify you to do what they want you to do. It's pure evil. So anyway, the moral of this story is, fuck the world and fuck the government too. And the last point, I was thinking in my bed, I know I've been saying some mental things, right? But I was lying thinking the Tupac song where he said, only God can judge me, but not that one where he said, too crazy to be humble. And it's true, when someone's bullying you, you cannot sit there and say, Well, I mean, you're right. I have done these things wrong, and yes, and if they're stealing and raping your children, torturing them in front of you, is craziness that comes over you, not humility. So please don't expect from people what they can't give. You know, you're giving them Mission Impossibles, and that's why things are turning against you. Okay? That's it.